Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue our journey in learning just one Chinese expression a day. And each day you're going to continue with at least one character from the previous day's expression. Yesterday, which is day 2 of 2023, we talked about 营造法式, which is the title of the classic of architecture. It's called Building Manual. The whole thing is about planning, building, the method and formula of successful building of wooden structure houses. Okay, today I forgot to green it, but this is a continuation, the same 法. Instead of doing, use it in the sense of like in 营造法式, it's like a methodology, right? The steps, the sequence of doing things. Here, came to the original meaning, like more to this law and order or justice meaning of this character. So again, quick review of what 法 is. 法 came from 3 components in here. So this component talked about water. Water sign here is a symbolize the justice, because water always flows flat, equal. There's no up and down. Everybody, the surface of the water, I mean, unless there are ripples or waves, but overall the surface of the water is evenly elevated. There's no higher ground, lower ground, so that is used as justice symbol. And the right side is a mythical kind of a deer looking animal that has the super power to tell right from wrong. So instead of a judge doing the job, we use a mythical figure there. Go figure, I have no clue why, but this is the animal with 4 legs. That's 4-leg walking animal, and this, I guess, is the head, and this kind of antler of the deer looking. It's not a unicorn, apparently, so it's a very wise animal who can judge human cases. Okay, and then the bottom is leaving or departure. The reason why is this kind of a starfish looking figure is an oversized human figure who is kind of on a departure. We know it's a departure because there is this kind of concave shape that signifies the original living quarters of that person. So that person, kind of at least outdoor of that cave, that signifies that it's leaving, it's departing from its original, its origin. So people living, and the whole thing connected together is 法 or law and order back then. The goal is to achieve justice. And the method is to use a mythical animal to tell right from wrong. And the result is somebody got punished by forced departure from their hometown. Because staying close to parents, to your ancestors are passed away parents, right? But for living ancestors, which are parents or grandparents, it's considered a sin in China. So one of the worst things you can do, like a morally punish or look down upon, are leaving your family, your seniors back home when you go far away place. So that was used as a type of common punishment. So I guess it's a lesser painful, at least it's not punished by, the inflicting pain directly on you, or it's not by like caging you to some one-man cell kind of punishment, isolation, right? It's punished by remove you from your family, from your community, into a far away place. So that's the whole thing, a practice of law back then. And then 网 is net. Okay. This net is super visual, right? It's almost like without my explanation. This is a space, and then the 2 crosses placed next to each other simply mimic the structure of a net. Chinese, when we express something, sometimes it's repeated, right? Like this 2 character put together, repeated twice. They are not only for rhythm, they're good to hear, like say hear it twice. I know in English, that seldom happen, right? You don't use this exact same character twice next to each other. Give me example. I cannot think of one right now. But that's regarded redundancy because one character already have that meaning. Why you repeat it again immediately after it? But this is something I'm not sure if it's unique, but definitely this is one feature I noticed between English and Chinese, that Chinese sometimes repeat it exact the same character twice next to each other, and it has some reason or meaning why we make new meanings by repeated twice at least. So over here, the wang, the 2 crosses, same symbol placed next to each other, repeated twice. That means many of them. It's not singular, it's multiple of them. So, and the 2 is enough. So there we have both the abstraction, the simplicity, and using only 2. The rest of them left for your imagination. Also, there is economy of, like, you didn't cross out the whole frame, you only cross out the first row, so leave the bottom empty. So the bottom left empty probably was intentional as well, because whatever you use this net for, either catching a bird or a beast, the bottom empty doesn't mean it has a big open hole at the bottom, okay? It means there are space within that nest that you can capture things. So this is your catch, supposed to be, your future catch supposed to be in here. So that's our wang. Other, net, fa, wang, combined together, almost like, okay, in a society of ruled by law and order, that law and order was visualized in Chinese culture as everybody is somewhere on that network. You may not lie exactly on the thread of the net. You may be somewhere between the holes, but you're never far from that. Okay, so that's the imagery of why we follow fa, law and order, with net. This is used to depict the relationship between law and order and the population. Okay, hui, hui, repeated twice, right? Okay, let's go to the hui itself. The left side is the heart symbol, which came with this 1 capacity. Okay, the heart, when it's written by itself, is more spacious. It has more balanced layout, but over here, the heart was kind of squished to the left side of the screen, of the frame, right? So the heart kind of like, how can you pump blood in this narrow tube thing? This looks more like a tube. Originally, it was proportioned like this, okay? So that's kind of a physical anatomy of a heart, a chamber, a pump, basically. And then we have a 1 tube in, 1 tube out, right? And then the 3rd tube is to supply blood to the heart organ itself. So that's the whole simplest way to explain what heart is. And then the right side, we have the fire symbol, which is kind of a cone shape, and with 2, I regard it as sparkles escaped from the main body of the fire. And then the hand symbol placed right over the fire. Okay, when can you place your hand right over the fire? It is when the fire is not a burning, strong, hot anymore, right? So it's kind of the fire in its dying phase or cooled down. There may be embers over there, definitely a lot of ashes over there. So that's the time when you can safely and not painfully place your hand over open fire directly. And that is a Chinese character used to describe ashes. Okay, so ashes came from a burned fire, right? So the fuse of the fire, which may be some logs or twigs, after they're done emitting their energy, their heat, they're left to become the ashes form. And that's when you can place your hand directly over that fire. And ashes also extended into the meaning of gray, color of gray. So I guess that's depicting the ash color. It's color of gray. So now, color of gray paired with heart symbol. Heart symbol, just like in English, a lot of times we attribute emotional feelings toward heart instead of brain, right? Because brain seems more cold-hearted than heart is warmer place. So this is emotional processing designation, at least language-wise, in both English and Chinese. So in Chinese, we have the heart, and we have a gray color, heart, or ashes of heart connect together. How it become grand? How does that logic jump was made? Well, I'm reading it as some scholars say this. Okay, of course, it's a sound maker. I don't want to buy into the sound maker. It is sound maker for sure, because heart can be paired with all kinds of characters. And because so many characters share the heart symbol, we cannot use the heart sound to sound it anymore. Otherwise, it's highly repetitive. We use whatever its couple, its pairing, its partner icon over there. So here, hui, the ash or the color of gray, is the sound maker. But I read it also as a meaning maker. So why the color, the gray heart or the ash heart became great? I read it as, okay, somebody who is so ambitious that is kind of burning to ashes, kind of grand will or ambition. So that personal, heart is like intention or ambition. And when it's so grand, so great, you can see it's kind of burning very much to the very end of the field. It becomes ashes. That's the only logical way to say. So by its own character, it means somebody who is very ambitious. By putting two ambitious together, it all of a sudden means grand. So I'm not sure if that came from, a common human behavior, which is grandiose. A lot of times people think too highly of themselves, or they have too big, too ambitious, and double-sized ambitious at least. That means it's grand scale. So eventually it goes beyond the human psyche domain into describing this physical, spatial domain. Means somewhere like physically extensive. It's vast. So basically, hui hui means vast in English. We have 法网恢恢, just means the vast net is cast in the, okay, I translate it as omnipresent law. So even if you as an individual, as a civil being, may not be like stepping on any of the thread over here. I just use the architecture of whatever structure here. Looks like a roof looking at the sky, right? And I like the visual of here, a net looking thing. So even if you may not hit right on the line of that, but because this is a vast cast of law and order, wherever you are in this space, kind of a sky looking, wherever you're landed, you are never that far from any of the blocks. Like you can be in any of the grid, and from any position, it's not that far from the line. So touching the line, I mean, here signifies that, of course, you break the law, you kind of break the rule, and therefore you're going to be touched by the law, probably sent away, far away from home. But here, 法网恢恢, in Chinese, we often use it to kind of like a threat to people, to civilians. Like, don't ever try to break the law, even if you may not see it or feel it in your daily life, like visibly see it. But when you do break the law, the execution of the justice is never far away from you. So that's the context is used, 法网恢恢. Cash into the currency of thinking by one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.